What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Too Pop to Handle. I'm your host, Andrew Nucatola, your pop culture best friend. And as always, I hope you guys are having a fabulous week. I hope everybody is keeping it demure, keeping it cutesy, being very mindful. I would love to come on here and tell you that I was very demure and cutesy and mindful this weekend, but I went on a bender on Saturday and had the best time. Yeah, nothing demure about the binge drinking that I decided to go on Saturday. So of course now here I am to, tell the internet. One of my coworkers is leaving the office and she's moving, so she won't be here anymore. I'm so sad. But she was like, the only thing I want to do before I leave New York is go to a drag brunch with you. And as the head gay in charge of my office and the only gay man at my office, obviously I had to make sure it was one for the books, and one for the books it was. We ended up going to Rise Bar, which is just like a very popular bar in Hell's Kitchen. Any of my New Yorkers and my gays listening, we've all been to Rise Bar. We've all blacked out at Rise Bar. Rise Bar is actually where I infamously blacked out the Thursday before Pride weekend. If you listen to that episode where I was talking about the bender I went on there, Rise Bar and I, we have a complicated relationship. I've never left there not on the verge of a blackout or blacked out. I don't know what it is. Something about the energy within that space. I just instantly turn into Andy, my drunk persona, and I'm a new bitch. I don't know. I don't know. Something in their drink, something in the air there. It just makes me want to go feral. So we headed to Rise. We did a drag brunch, and lucky for me, in this pop girl summer era I'm having, it was a chaperone themed drag brunch, and it was so much fun. It was hosted by Skywalker and Izzy Uncut, which I've seen them a ton. They're just like premier local queens. They're pretty much everywhere. I've seen them in the Village. I've seen them here, there, everywhere. If you are ever looking for a good fucking time and a good drag brunch, make your way to Rise for the Rise and Shine brunch. It was so much fun. I think they do two seatings every weekend. So they do Saturday at, I think it was like noon and 2:30. You can get an early one if you want to sleep in a little bit, get the 2:30 show. It was so much fun. We had a blast. Killer mimosas. My glass was never more than like a quarter way empty. They were keeping these bottomless mimosas bottomless, and it was so much fun. I loved it. So I had to come on here and, share the good news with you guys, as if going to drag brunch in Hell's Kitchen is groundbreaking information. But maybe some girls out there, maybe you're not from New York. Maybe you're looking for a good time next time you're here, and now you know. And on top of that, anybody coming to New York in the next few months, I just need to warn you. I need to address the elephant in the room, because if you did not see, if you don't follow me on my personal Instagram, I shared something to my story this week that is so incredibly terrifying, and I don't know what twisted individual decided this is what New York City needed, but they are installing a 16-foot pigeon statue on the High Line. I have so many questions. I am staying clear of the High Line and for the foreseeable future. You will not catch me near the High Line while that monster of a statue is up. I am terrified of birds to begin with. They are just like, they're not my thing, not my cup of tea. Always have been. I've tried to come over it. I've tried to figure out, why. I know where it stems from. I was in a pet store when I was a kid, and a parrot got out of its cage, and I was nose to beak with this motherfucker, and it squawked in my face. I was like 2 years old. I swear I can remember it. I can like see down the parrot's throat to this day. It was traumatizing. It ruined birds for me from that point on. I just don't fuck with birds. And when I saw that they were adding a 16-foot fucking pigeon statue to the High Line, there are so many pigeons in New York. Why are we adding more? Real or fake? Why do we need more? Why are, like, I don't know. I don't know who thought of this. I don't know why they're doing it. It seems like a personal attack. And I am just like, I don't know. I needed to warn you guys, because like if you like me are afraid of birds, steer clear of the High Line from like October. I don't know when it even ends. I'm like too afraid to look it up, because I'm like, what if it's there forever and I can never walk on the High Line? We'll cross that bridge when we get there, but I just needed to, spread the good word and let you guys know that like they're coming after us bitches who are afraid of birds, and they're ruthless. They have no shame. They do not give a fuck. They're laughing at us. They are literally laughing in our faces and being like, "Oh, you're afraid of birds? 16-foot pigeon. So that was my weekend, and that was my, nightmare come true. But yes, I hope you guys are having a fabulous week. We have a lot to talk about this week. I am very excited. So much TV news, so much Freaky Friday 2 news, or should I say Freakier Friday. There's so much to go into. So let's hop in. You guys know the drill. We kick off the show with my moments from the week that were just a little too pop to handle. Some rapid fire pop culture moments, kicking it off with my favorite kind of news to share at Too Pop to Handle, concert news. First and foremost, Sabrina Carpenter performed at Outside Lands this weekend, which is in San Francisco. Chaperone performed, Renee Rapp performed, everybody did fabulous. What else is new? But Sabrina Carpenter, she's gearing up for this album. She is just like the it girl of the moment, brings out no other than Kacey Musgraves. And I didn't even like think of this because I was half asleep when I sent it to my best friend, but I sent it to my best friend Ashley because she loves Sabrina and Kacey as well. And she was like, wait, this duo makes so much sense because Slim Pickings, her new song that's coming out, literally could be a Kacey Musgraves song. Like it sounds so much like Kacey's vibe. And I was like, wait, you're a genius. Like I have trained you so well to, put these pieces together before I even do. And so they came out, they did these boots are made for walk-in. They killed it. The two of them together was just like the blonde and the brunette or the dark hair together. It was just like a yin and a yang situation. I loved it. It was so good. Sabrina just she knows what she's doing. She is so smart. This whole rollout, rolling from the Eras tour into these festivals, she's gonna go straight into her headlining tour next month. Like she is just on fire. And when I say she's on fire, I mean it both literally and figuratively, because if you did not see the video of her pretty much getting torched, they tried to light our little 4'11" blonde bitch up at the end of her set. She went running off the stage. She was screaming. It wasn't funny because of like the implications of her getting burned by a firework on stage. Obviously not funny. I'm assuming she's totally fine because she ran and she was fine, but the audio from the video of her screaming after the fireworks went off, I don't know if they went off too early. I don't know if she was standing in the wrong spot. Like, I don't know what went down. Nobody's released a statement, which just leads me to think that like she's all good, nothing to worry about. But I was like, holy shit, did they not rehearse this? Like, we could have lost her. Sabrina Carpenter could have been Sabrina Goner. You know what I mean? Very crazy. I was like, that is not very demure, not very mindful, very electrifying moment, to say the least. And moving on to some other concert news, there are some congratulations in order for Miss Adele. She confirmed over the weekend that her and her boyfriend Rich Paul are engaged. A few months ago, I did an episode. I want to say it was like December, January. I could be totally wrong. I did an episode talking about the fact that there were rumors that Adele and him were engaged. It was the kind of like, there was like murmurs going around town. Sources were saying, there's always a source. It's always like sources say, sources close to Adele, sources close to this person. Who are these sources? Like, where do they come from? How do we know when to take the source for real or when to, take it with a grain of salt? Another question for another time. But yes, she has officially confirmed herself. It has come from Adele's mouth that they are engaged. I guess somebody had a sign or something that's like, marry me, Adele. And she said, I can't marry you. I'm already getting married. So just, alluding to the fact that she is engaged. Or maybe they're just like in talks of it, whatever it may be, who knows, but congratulations to them. I love to see Adele happy. She is just the bee's knees. Like there's nothing to hate about Adele. And I love to see her win. I love to see her happy. I mean, we're not going to get an album for a while. I do kind of feel like this Munich residency might kind of be like one of her final projects. I don't know what else we're going to get from her. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if we never get an album again. Obviously, I'm like crossing my fingers and my toes that's not the case, because getting to know more Adele music in my lifetime is just like not a storyline that I want to continue with. But I mean, she's given us 4 killer albums, and like clearly she's like doing a-okay with just those albums out because she hasn't released anything in years and she's still selling out stadiums and having stadiums completely built for her. But like I would really love like, a love song album from Adele now that she's engaged, but we will see, who knows. But yes, needed to congratulate Miss Adele because she is just killing it in both the professional and the love categories this year. We love to see it. And then some other things, some concert news, I guess, but things that, we kind of love to see, hate to talk about it because of, what's going on around it. But Taylor Swift, so obviously last week there was this scary threat that they were able to find and stop the attack that was supposed to happen on her shows in Vienna. No statements have been made yet. People are kind of going back and forth with it. I don't think Taylor and her team are the issue people need to be bringing up. Like, people are saying, like, why haven't they made a statement? It was literally a terrorist threat. Like, it wasn't just like, something to take lightly and just like release a statement and move on from it. I'm sure there's like investigations going on. Honestly, her legal team and like the officials in Vienna probably told her not to say anything because it could just be used almost against her. I do think it was really, really tone deaf of UMG or whoever decided to release more voice memos. I'm sure it was meant to be stopped, but they did release more voice memos to block Kanye from going number one. Just seemed like a really weird decision to make after your show was almost bombed by ISIS. But again, I'm not putting that on Taylor. I genuinely think like it was planned to be released, and in the mix of everything, it just kind of like slipped under the rug. That's what I want to believe. I obviously don't think Taylor is like pushing new music and not considering the fact that like her fans and her could have been severely hurt, if not killed. But yeah, definitely little strange, a little tone deaf poets department over the weekend there. But Taylor is in London. She is gearing up for five shows, I'm sorry, at Wembley Stadium this weekend. So I'm, curious what she's gonna say, if she's gonna say anything. Who knows? She was seen out and about last night. Apparently she threw a party to celebrate the Eras Tour team. I'm thinking it's been a very close-knit, week for her and the dancers and the band and the staff and everyone, just they've been on this journey for so long together at this point, and to have that happen to people that you are with every single day for, God, March will be 2 years. So we're going on, it's a year and a half at this point. Like, they're a family. And I know somebody ran into one of the backup dancers, like parents or something in Vienna, and said that like everybody from the crew and the team and the dancers, they were kind of on like a lockdown, doing their thing, like staying inside to just kind of like cope with what could have been, which is so scary to think about. So it looks like Taylor treated them to a night out last night and, just like, kind of reassured them. They're like, hey, like, we're going to go on this week. We're going to be good. I don't really know what went on inside, but she was seen by paparazzi. And we all know Taylor, she's not seen if she doesn't want to be seen. It's also, something to note that they are letting fans in a lot earlier this week at the shows. They're like getting let in at 3:30, which I feel like doors usually are like 5, 6-ish. So they're trying to like get everybody in, make sure, all of the safety concerns are taken care of. Everybody is inside. Nobody has anything to worry about. And they are no longer letting anybody tailgate outside. So if you don't have a ticket, I mean, you guys have all seen, I mean, a few weeks ago, there was 50,000 people outside the stadium. It was happening in the US. It's been happening everywhere where fans who can't get tickets wait outside and just listen to it, which isn't a foreign concept. People have been doing this for years, but specifically for this weekend in London, they are not letting anybody hang out in the parking lot. If you have no ticket, you are not allowed to be at Wembley Stadium. So I think it's smart. I think, for the safety of her and her fans and anybody else that could be involved, just let everybody go inside. Give the extra time to security, get there early, get your bag checked, do your whole thing. I'm pretty sure they also started doing like smaller bags. You're not allowed to bring in anything too big anymore. There already were these restrictions, of course, but I think they're really doubling down, which I 100% think is the best way to do it. But yes, so we will see, obviously we'll talk about it next week. The shows, there's five, so it's got to be is I guess Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, maybe? I should have looked that up. I'm a bad podcast host. But I believe there are five shows, so we will see what happens. Very scary, what could have been, but I'm happy to see that they are not letting this, rain on their parade and they are continuing to push on. I'm sure her and her team are like taking every safety measure that they can to make sure that they're safe, the fans are safe, everything going on is all right. And yeah, I'm just, hope everybody has a fabulous time at the Eras Tour this weekend. We're getting to the end of the tour, which is really crazy because I feel like, I mean, like I just said, it's almost 2 years. March will be the 2-year anniversary of it starting. And I'm like, wait, it's coming to an end. Like, we only have, what is it? We're in August, September, October, November. We have 4 more months of the Eras Tour left. That's crazy. Very wild. I felt like it was a tour that would never end, but that being said, moving right along, this next moment that was just too pop to handle kind of comes with two, it's like a two bangs for your buck. Because when I saw this headline, there were two takeaways from it. The first thing was Did everybody know that Elle King was Rob Schneider's daughter? Was I the last person to find out? Because I had no idea that she was a Nepo baby. And as somebody who, one of my favorite pop culture niches is Nepo babies, I feel so disappointed in myself that I didn't know this sooner. I had no idea. And this headline came out. We'll get into the headline in a second. But it said, it was like, Elle King speaks out on blah, blah, blah about father Rob Schneider. And I had to take a second and be like, you mean the dude from the Adam Sandler movies, Rob Schneider? Like, there's got to be a different Rob Schneider. Sometimes with these nepo babies, like, you don't know who their famous, father or mother is. Like Ben Platt, like his dad isn't the most like famous face. Like you might not recognize him out and about, but he has literally directed some of the most iconic movies ever. Gracie Abrams, like you wouldn't necessarily, I mean, I wouldn't at least recognize J.J. Abrams out on the street, but like he literally did the music for Star Wars. Like these people, sometimes it's people that you don't know, but everybody knows who Rob Schneider is. Like if you've seen a single Adam Sandler movie, you know who Rob Schneider is. And I was so in shock to find out that Elle King is his daughter. I was also shocked to find out that Rob Schneider is a complete asshole. I had no idea. I felt like since he's, in with Adam Sandler, he's always like the fun butt of the joke within the movie. So I always figured he would just be like a fun loving kind of guy. Absolutely not. So the headline that came out, Elle King, I don't think the episode's come out yet, but she's going to be on Bunny XO's Dumb Blonde podcast. And apparently, well, not apparently, literally, she got sent to fat camp when she was younger. And she got in trouble one year because she sprained her ankle and didn't lose any weight, which just like, fat camp in and of itself, I feel like it was a bigger thing back in the early 2000s. I don't know if it's still a thing and if it still goes on. I feel like fat camp was always a thing. I mean, there was literally the reality show based on kids going to fat camp on MTV, which is just like a crazy concept that that's something that happened. But that being said, she has said that they have not spoken in about 4 to 5 years. She said that I disagree with a lot of things that he says. You're talking out of your ass, and I want to use this opportunity to say that I disagree and I do not agree with anything he says. Anything related to his transphobic, misogynistic, and anti-vax comments she's relating to. So I had no idea that he had these comments that were made. So I was doing some research, as one does. And yeah, he's kind of said some shit, especially recently with the Olympics. He had a lot to say about the opening ceremony, which I'm sure you can draw some, draw the conclusions there of what people were saying. But he also, yeah, he got booed off the stage at one of his shows because he was making misogynistic comments, transphobic comments, just like talking out of his ass. And yeah, I was, I had a really shocking turn of events this week when I found out that not only is Rob Schneider Elle King's father, he's also a total asshole. So the more you know. But yeah, I was more shocked honestly to find out that she's a nepo baby and I didn't know about it because I have like two big niches in pop culture that I love. One of them is celebrity kids' birthday parties. I've talked about this before. I love to see a celebrity throw hundreds of thousands of dollars away on their kid's first birthday party that they're never going to remember. And I love a nepo baby that nobody knows about. So when I found this out, I was like, no fucking way. This is crazy to me. That being said, like I said, Rob Schneider had some things to say about the Olympics, and I have some things to say about the Olympics. So wrapping up our rapid fire moments, this one's going to be a little lengthier, I'm not going to lie. We got a few things to talk about, but we are wrapping up the 2024 Paris Olympics, and I'm sure you can imagine the things that I'm going to talk about because what the fuck is going on? How are you going to give somebody a bronze medal and then be like, actually, never mind, we were wrong, we're going to take it back? Obviously, I'm talking about Jordan Childs. If you have not heard about this, I don't know where the fuck you've been. Essentially, she won the bronze medal. And last week, I was talking about how when she got her bronze medal, it was a historic win because it was the first time there were three women of color on the podium. And it was like such a victory. Everybody was freaking out. You could see it in the video. Jordan wasn't sure if she was going to get a medal or not for it. And she was like one of the first people to notice it. She like lit up. The stadium went crazy. Like it was such a moment. And now a few days later, they are saying that the score was made 4 seconds after the 1 minute deadline and Child's initial score of 13.666 should be upheld. And now hear me out. I can understand, wanting to follow the rules and play by the rules. It's the Olympics. The rules should be followed 100%. But if you give somebody a medal and you're the reason that they fucked up, like you are the reason that this is a mistake, why is Jordan now? Why is she the one that has to suffer and like give back her medal? Why, like, in what world does that make sense? The judges fucked up, So now Jordan has to have this moment taken away from her. I mean, granted, that moment will never be taken away from her. I mean, it's one of the most like iconic historic Olympic moments that will go down in history now. It was huge. And I mean, at the end of the day, if they end up giving this medal to the other girl, like it kind of sucks that she has the medal and they're going to remember that moment where it was Jordan, Rebecca, and Simone standing up on the podium, literally making Olympic history together. So, like, I hope you have fun, you know, make your bed and sleep in it, I guess. But I also, like, my next question is if Jordan ends up getting her medal taken away from her, does she send the medal back? Like, how does that work? Are they like, does she have to mail it to them? Are they going to come get it from her? Are they going to send her like, you know, a prepaid label? Does she get to do like an Amazon drop off? You know, like you get to go to Whole Foods and drop your package off without packaging, just scan your QR code. Like, how do they go about physically retrieving the medal from Jordan if they do decide to go through with this decision and take it away from her? Like, how do they go about getting it physically back from her? That's what I want to know. Very, you know, lots of questions. Also, I'm very happy to see that the US gymnastics team is pushing so hard to make sure that she keeps this medal, but it's still fucked up. Like, she still killed her routine. Why are you trying to take this medal away when you were the issue? Maybe these judges should lose their jobs. Like, maybe they should be the ones not judging next time because clearly they can't judge accordingly because if they did, we wouldn't be in this predicament to begin with. So, just like a mess. I don't know. I just like it just blows my mind that like they're able to go back and like retroactively critique people's routines. Like, if the score that you give them in that moment isn't the score that's going to stay, why are we scoring them in real time? Why don't we give them, like, you know, do their routine and then an hour later you guys give the scores? It just something seems weird. I don't know. And if that's the case and like if she does end up having to unfortunately give back her medal, like I hope come LA 2028, excuse me, they end up changing it and it's like, all right, we're not going to give out the scores right away. It's going to be maybe they do like a ceremony later in the day or something where they can really look at these routines because like to give somebody this medal and then take it away from them is just like oh, I would raise hell. You would have to pry that medal out of my dead fucking hand. You would not find, I'd lose it. I don't know where it went. Oops, sorry. I don't know. I don't know. Can't find it. Must have lost it. They must have lost it on the plane. Sorry. Like, fuck out of here with that. Ugh, I cannot. But speaking of something I can deal with, Sha'Carri Richardson winning her first gold medal in the women's relay race this weekend. I mean, come on. After everything she went through in 2020, where they were really just like coming for her neck, acting like smoking pot was the end of the fucking world, and now for her to win her first gold medal, that is what we like to see. The best part of it, though, was not her winning the gold medal. The best part was while she is about to pass her opponent, just making that look over at her, completely still running probably like 600 miles an hour, really. Like, that bitch can run so fucking fast. She's running past her with ease, looks over so quickly, and then just looks back. Doesn't miss a beat, still smokes the bitch. It was iconic. Congratulations. That is so, it's just so major, especially, you know, after everything that they put her through back in 2020 to now have her have this huge comeback. We love to see it. And then last, like I said, LA 2028, we are up next. And the closing ceremony, it was something, it was interesting. I didn't watch it live. I was, you know, out and about doing my thing. But I mean, Tom Cruise quite literally was cosplaying Lady Gaga at the Super Bowl, the way that he dropped into the stadium like that. I was like, bitch, what the fuck are you doing? It was, I mean, and welcome to LA, I guess. Welcome to Hollywood. Obviously, we had Snoop Dogg, who was like the face of the Olympics, essentially. I feel like you couldn't go to any event without seeing Snoop Dogg there, which, not a complaint. I was just like, why? Since when is Snoop Dogg so into the Olympics? I didn't know that was in his like Rolodex of characteristics, but he was there. The Red Hot Chili Peppers performed. Her performed, which one thing about her, she stays booked and busy. She is going to get a check. She performed the Star Spangled Banner. And then we had Billie Eilish perform, who was clearly lip syncing, but you know what? Who gives a fuck? It is what it is. Like, welcome to Hollywood. We are welcoming everybody in. It is the smoke and mirrors of Hollywood. And I'm very excited the fact that, you know, they're going to be here next year. I mean, not here. I'm in New York and they'll be in LA, but we're hosting them. Also very curious to see, like, what they're going to do in LA, because they said that you won't be able to get to the stadium without public transportation come 2028. And LA is already, like, built and packed. There's like lots going on there. So I'm very curious to see like where they're going to build the village and how they're going to do all of the different areas that they need to compete in. So we will see. I saw a countdown on their website. I think we're like 2,199 days away from the LA 28 Olympics. So it will be here before we know it. Again, the Olympics this year, I've never been so invested. Maybe it's because of the podcast. I don't know. I just feel like I was so tuned in really to the women's gymnastics, but like as a whole, I feel like it was such more of like a moment. Maybe it was me, maybe I don't know, but something about this year just felt a little too pop to handle, if I will. And it doesn't stop there because literally breaking news, as of like 30 minutes ago this happened. So when I saw this pop up, I was like getting ready to film and I saw this pop up on Twitter. I was like, "Oh bitch, put it in the book. We need to talk about it." Imane Khelif, the Algerian boxer who everybody had so much to say about whether she was a woman or not. She is a woman. She is literally a biological woman. Argue with the wall. I don't want to hear it. I don't think anybody listening to this is going to argue that with me, but like people just have way too much to say. But she is fighting back. Literally because she's a boxer and legally. She is suing J.K. Rowling and Elon Musk, amongst other people, but those are the two big names that were in the lawsuit in a cyber bully lawsuit. So it is over alleged acts of aggravated cyber harassment, and the lawsuit was filed against X, which under French law means that it was filed against an unknown person. So this will ensure that the prosecution has all the latitude to be able to investigate against all people, including those who may have written hateful messages under pseudonyms. And all I'm going to say is get them for every fucking dollar they're worth. All of these bitches. People had so much to say about this bitch being a boss fucking bitch, doing her thing. She was at the Olympics because she's a fucking Olympian. Sorry that she was good at what she does. Like, what do you want me to fucking say? Like, she was literally at the Olympics for a reason. She's there because she's a fucking badass. And now she's going to sue you all. She got her gold medal. She dealt with all of your shit. And now she is coming for your fucking bank account. So count your days, J.K. Rowling. Count your days, Elon Musk. Count your days, all you little fuckers out there who has something to say about this bitch. Because you know what? It's about time that you guys pay for the shit that you do. I'm over it. I can't with these people just like going online, spewing hate, spewing things that just are like not true and so evil and like deep rooted in just like ugliness. It's about fucking time. I hope she gets her bag. I hope she comes for you and takes you for everything you're worth. And that is our two pop to handle moments from the week. Moving right along into our Drew releases segment, which is our new releases in music. That was such a transition, you guys. Into our new releases from last week, and we'll chat about the new releases coming up this week. We have a lot of music to talk about, so let's hop into it. First and foremost, we got the second single from Katy Perry's upcoming album 143, Lifetimes. And let me just say, this song is light years better than Woman's World. Is it like the most groundbreaking song? No, but I'm not expecting that from Katy anymore. This song is light years better than Woman's World. I love the beat. I like the lyrics. I think it's really solid. I think it's like a fun dancey moment. It's just it's what I wanted from her in Woman's World, and I'm just happy that like we're still getting this, dancey poppy album that we all wanted without, with the exception of Woman's World, because that was just like wasn't what we expected as a comeback. But this second single, I am loving it. But unfortunately, Katy Perry cannot take a break because again today, breaking news: she is under investigation for the potential environmental infringement after failing to get permission to film her Lifetime's music video. So the island that she was filming it on apparently is like preserved and protected, and she didn't get all the legal like paperwork, I guess, done to film this music video, which isn't really on her. This is more so her team, and her legal team is like, what the fuck are you doing? You didn't get the permissions to film this music video, but she just can't catch a break. She is just, it's just like one thing after another. I honestly feel bad. Though, I mean, like, you've been in this game for so long and your team isn't checking these things. Like, come on, I don't want to laugh because I don't like to see Katy Perry fail. Like this isn't my goal. I am not here. I'm not one of the people online who is like anti Katy Perry. I'm not sipping the Kool-Aid because everybody else hates her. I'm very excited for this album. I really like this track. I'm really excited for this era. Like I am not one of those people who is like, I hate Katy Perry because the internet's telling me to. She's Katy fucking Perry. And I just feel like she's getting such a short end of the stick. Some people might say it's karma. I don't know. It is what it is. Very excited to see what else is in store for the rest of this album. Hopefully no more lawsuits. Hopefully we're able to, coast until 143 and just do our thing. But damn, she cannot catch a break. The next release that we had from last week was Chlöe. She released her album Trouble in Paradise, and it is such a solid piece of work. I love it. No surprise, I love Chlöe. I think she's so talented. Again, I say it every time I talk about her. She is a prodigy of Beyonce. She's going to be, to the nines. And I really, really, really love this album. Thought it was a really solid piece of work. But the two songs that really just like, whew, they are incredible is Favorite featuring Anderson .Paak and Want Me featuring Halle, which obviously is her sister. The Anderson .Paak feature should have been released in May, and it could have been a song of the summer. It is so good. I am going to be holding on to every last bit of the summer I have to listen to this because it is such a good song. Anderson .Paak is just so talented, and I mean, like, I feel like anything he touches is kind of gold. This song is no exception. And then, of course, the very highly anticipated comeback of her and Halle releasing music together. It's been a few years, like I talked about last week. And this new song is so good. It's all about, not being able to get what you want. You're in love with this person, but is it the person that you want? These two are just, they're open books in their music. I will say they lay it all out. They have no problem giving a full look into what they're thinking, what's going on in their lives. Their voices are just like made to be sung together. I hope this like lights a fire under their ass and they release another project together because my God, I love when they do music together. I love them solo. I love them together. I love this album. If you're looking for just like a solid like R&B project to listen to, I cannot recommend this album enough. It is Trouble in Paradise, Chloe Bailey, another album in the book. She's just so good at what she does. We love to see that. And then the final release, I saved the best for last because Miss Addison Rae, the pop star that you are, the icon that you are, I bowed to you. Diet Pepsi dropped on Friday and it is incredible. It is incredible. I don't care what anybody says. I've seen nothing negative about it, to be honest, but like if there was something negative to say, you're wrong. This song is so, so good. It is giving like early 2000s, a little bit of Lana, like early 2010s vibes. It is sexy. It is fun. It's got that like key change at the end. It is everything I want in a song like this, and not what I was expecting from Addison Rae, to be honest. I was expecting, Obsessed. I was expecting To Die For, which I love. Do not get me wrong. Her AR EP went platinum in my house. But this song is such a different vibe for her, and it's working. And let's get into the music video because it was giving Britney Spears. Like, was this her audition tape for the Woman in Me biopic? Because if it is, I'm buying it. I am sold. I loved it. It is so good. Getting the Diet Pepsi at the end out of the cooler, the American flag wrapped around her, the way she's like hanging over the guy in the car. It was just like so all-American girl. So good. I loved it. Mel Ottenberg was the creative director on the music video, he's the editor-in-chief of Interview, and he just creative directed so many incredible photo shoots. I mean, there's Rihanna, Lana, like he's done so many major photo shoots. So as soon as I watched the video and looked at the credits and saw his name, I was like, well, that makes sense why I love it because he, again, is someone who just like touches something and he puts his creative spin on it and it's gold. I loved it. This song is incredible. If you have not listened to Diet Pepsi by Addison Rae, you are missing out on top tier pop music. I love it. It is a perfect pop song and I have no notes. I have not a single note. It blew me away. I cannot stop listening to it. She ate. I love it. It's so good. And this week we have a lot of upcoming albums. So we have Post Malone releasing his country album finally. I feel like I've been talking about it forever. It's called F1 Trillion. It drops this Friday. We have Tanashi releasing Quantum Baby. And then we have Maud Latour releasing Sugar Water, which I've talked about Maud a little bit before. She's more of like a hyper pop, definitely not for everybody kind of sound, but she's had a really unique sound to her, and I'm excited. This is her debut album, so very excited for these three releases. Gonna be honest, I don't know if I'm going to listen to all three of these albums in full by the time we record next week because 3 albums in 1 week is a lot. It is literally too pop for me to handle, but I will listen to what I can. We will chat about what I want to next week because, again, it is my show, not yours. And then on the topic of things coming out this week, this is not confirmed, but Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars, I am on to you. They have been rumored to be releasing a collab together, and this week they are just like pedal to the metal, full throttle going for it. So if you did not see, there was this like screenshot from radio going around saying that songs that were going to impact radio within the next 2 weeks or so. And there was a song on there called Die with a Smile by Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars. And then on Monday, so yesterday, I want to say, they followed each other on Instagram and started commenting on each other's posts. And then today, Lady Gaga posted herself in a Bruno Mars t-shirt playing the piano, and Bruno shared it to his story. Now, I don't know if it's just going to be a single. I don't know, like, I don't really see Bruno fitting the LG7 vibe that I'm picturing. Like, in the landscape of LG7, Bruno Mars isn't there. Not to say that I'm not excited for a Gaga and Bruno collab, but just like, I think this is gonna either be like a Joker song for the movie, or maybe it's for something Bruno's working on. I just don't see Bruno Mars existing in the LG7 universe. And that's not shade. Like, that's not me being like, shady or trying to, stir the pot. Like, that fantasy just isn't there for me. But that being said, I'm very excited for whatever this collab is, because I feel like their voices together are gonna be like, they're just gonna melt together. Like, thinking about their two of them, I feel like it's gonna be really, really good. Again, I do not see it in the LG7 landscape, but I'm excited for whatever project it, comes with. I'm excited to see what they have in store. They're pretty much playing on our face at this point, so we will see. People are saying it's going to drop this Friday, so who knows? If it does, we'll talk about it next week. If not, we'll talk about it when it comes out. But yeah, I couldn't let the week go by and not discuss the fact that Lady Gaga is playing in our face. Still, we still don't have any news about LG7. This Bruno Mars collab that's pulling out of thin air. Like, she is just, I don't know. That Stephanie sure knows how to keep us little monsters on our toes. We are sitting here waiting with our paws up. We are ready. You tell us, let us know when you're ready to drop LG7. Maybe this Bruno Mars collab is just like something to hold us over. Whatever it is, we are waiting with open paws. So, falls in your court, Gaga. But that being said, let's move on into the main parts of the show. So we are discussing D23, not from like a Disney adult lens, though. I feel like anybody hearing like, oh, we're gonna talk about D23, like, I'm not putting my Mickey Mouse ears on. Like, I'm not a Disney adult. No shade to anybody who's listening if you are. Just not my forte, but we are covering D23 and all of the Freaky Friday and Miley Cyrus news of it all there. And then we're going to get into the It Ends With Us drama, because there is a lot going on. And there's a lot going on. That's all I'm going to say. We will get to it in a minute. But before that, let's talk about the fact that Freakier Friday is coming, and I can't. If you've listened to this podcast for a week, 3 weeks, a month, however long you've been listening, I've probably mentioned Freaky Friday 2 in some capacity, but this feels like the first time where it's like big major news. So D23, which is like the Disney Expo, I guess. I feel like it's like upfront, but for Disney. It happened over the weekend, and I knew that Jamie Lee Curtis was getting honored as a Disney legend. I knew Miley was getting honored, and then I knew that there was some type of like Freaky Friday news. I didn't really know what magnitude of news we would be getting about it, so I wasn't sure how I would fit it into the show, if it would be rapid fire or fit here. But there was a lot to swallow, and we are going to dive into everything we have learned about this Freaky Friday sequel. And before we hop into anything new about the movie, I just wanted to remind everybody, maybe if you're new here and you don't know, just to like make sure you know and like set the scene. You might think that you're excited for Freakier Friday, but there is nobody on planet Earth who is more excited for Freakier Friday than I am. I have been begging for this sequel for years. Freaky Friday is literally one of my top 3 favorite movies in the world. I still cannot believe that we're getting this movie. And let's hop into some of the things that we found out about this weekend, because my God, it was a lot. First and foremost, we found out who will be playing Lindsay's husband in the movie. So it is not Chad Michael Murray, but it is Manny Jacinto, who is also from The Good Place. I've watched The Good Place here and there, but I'm not too familiar with him. But I will say he is very easy on the eye. So I am very excited to stare at him in any capacity in any of the scenes, because that man is very attractive. We also found out that Harry is back. So Ryan Malgarini, who played Harry in the movie, Lindsay's little brother, will be returning. He wasn't in the original cast announcement, so I don't think he's going to be like a prominent character like he was in the first movie, but he will be back in some aspect. I'm curious if they saw the people online giving backlash saying that how are they going to do the movie without Harry in it, and I wonder if they like wrote him in or how that worked. Maybe they were saving it for this announcement. Who knows? But Harry will be back. rest assured, we can take our panties out of a bunch. The whole Coleman clan will be back. And I think the most exciting news that we got from the weekend about this movie is the fact that Pink Slip is back and they are going to be in the movie even bigger than they were the first time. There wasn't too much that they gave away in like how they're going to be back, but they are back. Music is apparently a much bigger part of this movie than it was in the first one, which I mean, thinking about the songs that we got from the first Freaky Friday and thinking like, how are they going to top it? Beats me. I cannot wait. I am seated. I am sad. I am so excited for this movie. I cannot, I can't. I feel like I am having a Freaky Friday experience where I'm switching bodies with the universe because I just am like, I put this out into the universe years ago. I have been tweeting about it, asking about it, and now I am finally, it's coming to fruition, and I am just so excited. So, some other news that we found out about the movie, they pretty much picked up where they left off when they went on their first day of filming. Apparently, it was literally like they hadn't gone any time without seeing each other, the entire cast, and it was just like a giant family reunion. They picked up right where they left off, which I love that. You always hear about movie sets when it is like a family within the set, it makes it such a better experience. I think for everybody, it's a better viewing experience. It's a better opportunities for the rest of the cast to do projects together in the future, to get a Freaky Friday too, or Freakier Friday, excuse me. Like, I feel like if it wasn't such a family bond back in the day when they did the original movie 21 years ago, my God, that's crazy. There would be no Freaky Friday 2 because there would be no want to do it. And the fact that it was such like a family bond on set between everybody just really makes it even more special. The fact that everybody's back all these years later. We also found out that the switch might be happening between multiple people. There's that clip that came out of Jamie Lee Curtis, so Tess and Anna Lindsay, and they're screaming in front of the mirror, recreating the scene from the first movie. And they said, we were in front of the mirror, but we might not have been alone. So I'm thinking it's multiple body switching. I don't know how many people. I don't know if it's going to be with Lindsay's daughter or who. I don't know. They would not say who would switch. Obviously, I don't want to know either. I want to wait until we get the trailer or like closer to the movie, but they said multiple people will be switching. However, they did confirm that nobody will be switching bodies with boys. So they're keeping it, it's all the girls that they're swapping with. And they did say that they might be swapping spit with Chad Michael Murray. So they won't be switching bodies with Chad Michael Murray, but somebody may be swapping spit with him. So knowing that Anna has a husband who is not Chad Michael Murray in this movie, when obviously it ended with her and Chad Michael Murray together in the first one, or like alluding to it, very curious to see what they mean by who is swapping spit with him, but we will see. God, I am so excited. They also said that there are no fortune cookies in this movie, so the swap will not be in a Chinese restaurant, which I do think that kind of takes away from the original plot of the movie, but I do think like to make it its own story and to make it its own sequel, they needed to do it in a different way. So I have no doubts that it's going to be a great swap again. Like in the first one, like I'm very excited. They said that there is surfing involved in this movie, bigger laughs, bigger comedy, bigger physical comedy, and much bigger music. So they are like fully geared up for this movie to just be like, blow it out of the water, no pun intended, with the surfing element of it. They said they had to learn how to surf for some scenes. So I'm just so excited. They still have 2 weeks of filming, they said, coming out next year. This is me starting my campaign to get me to the Freakier Friday premiere. Anybody at Disney, hit my line. If you need me to check tickets, if you need me to scoop popcorn, if you need me to clean up the popcorn after, just get me to the premiere. I am willing to go to war with whoever wants to come at me and say they're more excited for this movie, because I can promise you there is nobody more excited for this movie than I am. And while we're on the topic of Jamie Lee Curtis, she was honored as a Disney legend over the weekend, and they did it in such a perfect way to induct her into the Disney Legends. She was inducted by Lindsay Lohan and Jodie Foster, which Jodie Foster played, her name's not Anna in the original Freaky Friday. I forget her character's name, but in the original Freaky Friday that came out in 1976, I want to say, Jodie Foster plays the daughter who is Anna in the 2003 version. So Jodie Foster and Lindsay presented this award to Jamie Lee Curtis, and this is just such like a full circle kind of moment. I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis has obviously been in the movie game for years, and for her to be coming back to Disney doing Freaky Friday 2 and get added into the Disney Legends Club or Hall of Fame, whatever you want to call it. And having Lindsay and Jodie Foster presented to her just had to be such like a heartwarming and full circle weekend. It was just like it was a good weekend to be a Freaky Friday fan. Everyone looked amazing. All the news that came out, seeing Jamie Lee Curtis get inducted, it really was too pop to handle. I cannot even begin to express because it didn't stop there. On top of Freakier Friday's announcement, Lindsay and Jamie Lee being there, them just being, Tess and Anna to the fullest, Miley Cyrus also gets inducted into the Disney Legends Hall of Fame, which, if you know me, Miley Cyrus, Lindsay Lohan, two of my favorite people in the world. And Miley getting added to the Disney Legends Club, I don't even know what you call it. It was incredible. So she is the youngest person to be added as a Disney legend, which we love to see her, continuing to make history as Miss Hannah Montana. And her speech, can we just talk about her speech? I mean, first and foremost, she looked stunning. I'm shocked that she showed up, but I don't think she would miss this appearance because this is huge. Like, and you could tell how much it meant to her when she was up there giving her speech and even watching Lainey Wilson perform Best of Both Worlds and the little montage of her career. Like, she was so emotional. So I think this really was something that was so special to her. So I obviously she wasn't missing this for the world. Like, she doesn't do many public appearances anymore, but she was not missing this. And her speech, Miley Cyrus, the legend that you are, I could cry. I literally, and she did. She cried. It was so good. So she gave us some insight about the audition process. A lot of the things that we knew. I mean, she was up. They wanted her for the role, but they called her back a year later because she was too young, and then they wanted her for it again, and she just took it off. And I think the fact that like they came back to her a year later and when she got into it, it became the phenomenon that it did. It really just goes to show that like everything happens for a reason. Timing is always on your side. Like if they were to push Hannah Montana with somebody else as Hannah, who knows if it would be anywhere near as successful as it was with Miley, but you could just tell that Miley was she was so in it and so passionate about Hannah. And this speech was just, it was everything. She said, she was proud to have been Hannah. She went on to say, and I think this was the best part of the entire speech. She said, legends get scared too. I'm scared right now, but the difference is we do it anyway, and all of you can do that every single day. It's legendary to be afraid and do it anyway. There is no such thing as failure when you try. And I think that just pays such a nice tribute to her career. She has gone through so many phases, so many eras. She made a joke about like the Bangers era, the Dead Pet era. She was like, something I wasn't fully there for a few years, 2013, 2016, but she tried, she did her thing, she put her feet in some other water, and for lack of a better words, you'll always find your way back home. It was so full circle. As somebody who grew up loving Hannah Montana, and like honestly, I don't think I would be doing a pop culture podcast had it not been for early Disney Channel stuff. I was obviously super into like Y2K culture and everything like that. Britney, obviously Lindsay, Hilary Duff, all of that. Like I loved Disney Channel and the Y2K of it all before that. But I think with social media and like, everything that came up with the Hannah Montana era, High School Musical, the Jonas Brothers, like all of that early 2000s Disney that like kickstarted into social media and carried us into the 2010s, like really was such like a defining part of pop culture and my like fascination with it. So it was a full circle moment, like watching her give her speech and then being like, wow, I get to talk about this on my podcast that I love doing and I've wanted to do for so many years. It was a little full circle moment and I loved it. I love Miley Cyrus so much. She's always been a legend in my eyes, but the fact that she has it now, like officially, we love to see it. She is just the bee's knees. I love her so much. And moving on to our next topic is kind of a change of hearts. We are talking about the It Ends With Us drama. And my God, I'm going to keep this as concise as possible because honestly, like, it is getting to a point where I am like, can they wrap this fucking promo up? Hi, editing Andrew popping in. Literally while I was in the middle of editing this episode, a statement came out that Justin Baldoni hired a crisis PR firm, and not any crisis PR firm, but the crisis PR firm that represented Johnny Depp in the Amber Heard case. So I'm not going to get into it on this clip because I need to finish editing and get this episode uploaded so I can take my ass to bed. But Just know that that news broke after I recorded this upcoming segment, and I'm gonna have to, reshuffle some thoughts before I get to an end consensus on the It Ends With Us saga. Last week, I was talking about Blake Lively being on the September issue of Vogue, and I was all into it. I love Blake Lively, do not get me wrong. I loved Gossip Girl. I mean, I think her and Ryan are such a cute couple, but the past week or so, the tables have turned. Oh, the tables have turned, and I'm feeling a little iffy about them. I don't know. Something is weird, and people are opening up my eyes to like something is not right. So if you do not know, Colleen Hoover's book It Ends With Us was bought by Justin Baldoni, or the rights to it rather were bought by Justin Baldoni back in 2019 to make the movie, and it has been in the works since then. It just came out. There was obviously it was like a big push. This book is like huge. People love it. Little controversial of all the things going on in the book, and we'll get into that in a second, but this was a very anticipated movie. Now, we had seen a lot of going on while they were filming it. Blake Lively in these like kooky, crazy outfits. Like nobody really knew what was happening. And then the press started, and it was pretty much Blake Lively's press tour and nobody else's. She was pushing her new hair care line. She was pushing her non-alcoholic beverage line. She was pushing Ryan Reynolds' movie. Like she was doing everything but talking about this movie, which is fine to do when the movie isn't literally about domestic violence. And I think that's really where like the questions start to raise, because this movie is fully about a domestic violence situation. And nobody is doing the press as if it's a movie about domestic violence. They're pushing it like a rom-com. And, they're talking about this love story and it's this and it's that. And the only person who wants to discuss the fact that it is a domestic violence movie is Justin Baldoni. And he is getting completely shunned by the entire cast. So he bowed out of all press. He didn't do any, appearances. He did no interviews, nothing pretty much up until release week, where he showed up to the premiere, still didn't really make a splash. All he wanted to talk about is the story and the importance of the movie, which I don't blame him. I put it this way. If you were to go into this movie thinking it was like a lighthearted, beautiful rom-com, and for it to end up being about domestic violence, it would it would definitely shake you up a bit. Like if you don't do your research, which let's be real, most people going into a movie starring Blake Lively, they're like, oh, it's gonna be a light, it's gonna be a cute rom-com. It's pitched as a rom-com. If you go into that movie, God forbid, if you've gone through anything like that, it could trigger somebody into another like sphere. You know what I mean? Like, and I know, you people get like you can't blame your triggers for other people, and like you should do your research, things like that. That I understand. And I've seen both sides of it. I've seen people like arguing both sides. But the fact that today Blake Lively finally decides to post something about domestic violence, and she has her stats on her Instagram story. She's like, 1 in 4 women will experience a domestic violence, da da da. It just seems so strange that after all of this, everything going on, Justin Baldoni finally gives an interview. It comes out Friday morning, I believe. It literally came out the day the movie came out. And when he was asked if he'll be directing the sequel, he said, no, I think Blake Lively's fit for that role. Clearly, she is trying to clean some mess up, and she is trying to tighten the loose ends there. And I'm definitely skipping some things. Like, I'm definitely not fully giving the story, but like, that's the TLDR. Something is weird about this movie. In any other life, I would be on Blake Lively's team. I was like kind of blindsided to anything she did. I love her. I think she is so talented. She is talented. I don't dislike her, but I'm definitely leaning a little bit more towards Justin Baldoni. I feel like there's something going on behind the scenes that nobody knew. I mean, there's definitely Blake and Ryan definitely stepped in and like overshadowed him as a director and kind of tried to like take the reins from him. Some shit went down on that set, and now I feel like Blake is trying to clean it up and she's posting her Instagram story. It just seems weird. I don't know. Something weird is going on. Something very, very strange went on during that set and this press and this promo. And I honestly commend Justin Baldoni for speaking up about it and being the one who was vocal about it. Because Blake Lively and Colleen Hoover, all they wanted to do was release a fucking coloring book, put flowers on the cover, and be like, it's a rom-com. It's a movie to watch with your girlfriends, when it's literally about domestic violence. So I'm going to leave it at that. We're going to move on because I have been talking for so long this episode. I mean, it's a podcast, that's what you're here for, but holy shit, we still have some TV news to dive into. Not too much, though. Haven't watched anything. I am still behind on all things Drag Race. Global All Star starts this weekend, and I am nowhere even, haven't made a dent in Canada versus the world. I'm sorry. I apologize. I am such a bad podcast host, but it is what it is. We have such a stacked fall upcoming of TV programs. Today alone, we got the Selling Sunset Season 8 trailer, which will be back on September 6th, and we got the Real Housewives of New York City trailer, which will be back October 1st. Let's hop into Selling Sunset quick. There's much less to talk about Selling Sunset than there is RHONY, so we'll get that out of the way, and then we'll get into RHONY. So Selling Sunset, the girls are back September 6th. It is in 2 weeks. It is, or 3 weeks rather. It is so soon. I am so excited. If you're new to the podcast and haven't been listening for a while, I did recap Selling Sunset season 7 back whenever that was, and I guess in the winter. It was earlier this year we talked about it. I'm very excited to have this new season back. I actually think I might have recapped season 6 as well, because I started the podcast last October, and I think Selling Sunset had just premiered when I started. Regardless, it's at least my second, maybe my third Selling Sunset season that I'm recapping, and I am so excited. I think the big thing from the trailer is the fact that we're going to get a glimpse into Chelsea's divorce. They were clearly, the girls were talking about it. There's this scene with her and Bree where Bree's like, don't shoot the messenger, but I'm the messenger. Chelsea's sitting there crying. Her face card looks insane, and she has, the tears rolling down her face. There's some other stuff going on, obviously, but I think the big takeaway from the trailer is that we're going to get a glimpse into Chelsea's relationship and her divorce. And in previous seasons, like, her and her husband seemed like they were like the best of friends. It was her first Tinder match. She always would say like, "Oh, I moved to LA. He was the first person I went on a date with from Tinder, and now we're married." And I think that was like the most shocking divorce that could have came from the show, honestly, with the two of them, because they just seemed so solid. I don't know. They always talked about each other in such positive light. So I'm definitely very curious to see what went down. Obviously, divorce isn't something to like get entertainment from, but it's on a reality show, so I guess we will see. But we will, obviously that is starting sooner than later. We only have a few more weeks, so I'm very excited for that to come back. And then RHONY. So this trailer dropped today, and there is a lot to unpack. First and foremost, we have Raquel, who I've talked about before. She is joining as a full cast member, and we find out that Rebecca Minkoff, who is the fashion designer, is coming on as a friend of. What's strange to me is Rebecca is featured in the trailer so much. She almost seems like a full cast member. So I wonder if they're just like trialing her to see how she'll do as a full cast member with the girls. I don't know, but we have two new girls entering RHONY. We have one as a full-time Raquel and one as a friend of Rebecca. And the girls are fighting. First and foremost, this whole Raquel Jenna storyline, we definitely saw it coming, but I feel like they're going to push it a lot. And Jenna seems so happy with her partner and things like that. So I really hope this isn't like a wedge that's going to get squeezed between that relationship. Also, Raquel is married. She has kids. Like, I think it might just be for the show and like them just being like flirty, girly friends. I don't think it's going to be anything too serious, but the way that they were kind of like lighting it up for the trailer, I was like, oh, they are trying to clickbait the fuck out of this relationship. But we will see. I'm very excited for Raquel to be joining the cast, to have her and Jenna as two queer women on the show as this representation. Very, very excited for her to join. Also, who the fuck is pregnant? If you didn't watch, they were like, somebody was going around, they were like, she had a wild night out and now she's pregnant. And then Rebecca got mad at, I think, Jessel for talking about it. Like, they were going back and forth. Erin made the comment. She was like, that's why she's not drinking, because she's pregnant. So somebody in the cast seems to be pregnant or had a wild night out with somebody. Who knows? It seems like it's going to be a pretty big like storyline throughout the season, so we will see there. I want to know what's going on with Abe and Erin. What is Abe lying to Erin about? Why is she crying to Bryn like that? But then Bryn and Erin are fighting. Bryn comes at her and says, "Oh, I suck dick to get a job," yelling back at Erin. Like, the way that Erin and Bryn go, they're so Jekyll and Hyde. One day they're best friends, one day they hate each other, and that was how it was season, I guess, 14, but season 1 of like Housewives of New York City. You know how they did that weird numbering thing. Like, that's how they were last season. So I guess they're carrying it through here. It's very much like big sister, little sister vibe, but it's like how long are they going to play this volleyball back and forth? Regardless, I don't know. I'm excited. I love this cast. I know a lot of people don't love the reboot, but I think it is fantastic. We also find out that Uba and Bryn are gonna go at it. So, um, this quote itself just like I was like, Uba, I love you. You're hilarious, but this was crazy. She said, "Darling, go Google my name. Naomi wishes, Giselle wishes." I am so sorry to that woman, but Giselle and Naomi, they're good. They're not like worried about your dress barn campaign, and I'm not coming at you sideways. I love Uba. You are she's one of I'm saying this like she's listening. I don't maybe she is. I don't know. They're all very active on Instagram. I will say they are very nice, and I've chatted with pretty much all of them, and they are all lovely. But uh that like saying Giselle and Naomi wish they were you is definitely a statement to make. I was like, ah, baby girl. Like the Delulu is not the Salulu. You are, it's a stretch. I know you're 7 foot tall and you are, you can reach a little bit higher. It's not so much of a stretch for you, but it's a stretch for the rest of us. And that, I don't know. But Bryn seems to be the one really like stirring the pot this season or just involved in the drama. Uba was even commenting today. She shared the reel of the trailer and was like, I just want to let you guys know one of my dress barn campaigns can pay for 6 months in her no view Manhattan apartment. And then Sai posted a selfie, and everybody was in it except for Bryn. So like, Bryn seems I don't know if they're singling her out. I don't know if she's like the feisty little redhead again this season. I mean, I'm sure she is because she's Bryn. Love Bryn, but like she definitely is. She yaps back a bit, but I don't think she's does anything wrong to say. Like I don't think any of her takes are ever like maybe not, but let me not go down that road. Regardless, Bryn seems to be in a lot of it this season. So I'm very curious to see how that pans out. I'm very excited for this season. The other thing that we saw was Jessel kind of asking her husband for a third kid, and he wants nothing to do with it. He is very much set on having the two boys, and that is it. So I'm sure that's going to stir up some drama. He also said he would rather have a Elon Musk in his family than a Beyonce. So I think maybe he should maybe get his brain checked out. Maybe Jessel should think about somebody else for a husband because to pick Elon Musk over Beyonce, baby boy, something's not right. Go back to your little fried chicken cart, your fried chicken committee, whatever it was, and go do your thing because you're eating a little too much street meat. Your brain is a little fried. I don't know what's going on there. But that is RHONY. I am very, very, very excited for this season. I'm excited for Selling Sunset. And then the last little bit of TV news. Next week, we get the Love Island reunion. You guys know everybody loved Love Island this season. It was phenomenal. So they are filming the reunion here in New York sometime this week. Not sure when. It is airing on Monday the 19th. So by the time we speak next week, it'll be out. We will talk about it. But in more exciting news, they were doing an event this Friday at the 92Y or 92NY rather, here in New York, which I've been to before. I've talked about events I've gone to there. They do a lot of really, really fun events. And I actually was able to get a ticket. The event was sold out, but I was able to get a ticket and I'm going to make some content, not with the cast or anything, but I'm very excited. I am going to represent Too Pop to Handle at the event. So stay tuned on my personal TikTok, on our Instagram. I'll be posting some fun content from there and we will chat about it next week. They're actually streaming the conversation that I'm going to on Tuesday the 20th. So next Tuesday, it'll be live on, I guess, the 92NY website. You do have to pay for it. I think it's like $10 for the virtual one, but interesting that they're filming it on Friday and then putting it live on Tuesday. I guess I don't want to compete for the actual finale, but I'm very excited to see the cast IRL out of the villa. I'm thinking it's definitely gonna be after they film the reunion, so I'm thinking tensions might be a little high depending on how the reunion goes. So we will see. I'm very, very excited. So make sure you're following me on social media on all my platforms. I am at Andrew Nucatola or at 2pop to handle. I will be sharing whatever possible to share with you guys, and we will chat about that next week. But yes, very, very excited. And we have finally made it to the final end of the show. This was a long episode, so thank you guys for sticking around and listening. I had a lot to talk about. What can I say? just a boy with a microphone. But if you are new here, we end every single week with my yes and my mess of the week. My yes being something I'm loving and my mess being something I'm not loving. We always start on a high note, so let's kick it off with my yes. And my yes this week, Celine Dion. If you did not see, Donald Trump, hate the man, decided to use My Heart Will Go On in one of his video campaigns. He used it, it was unauthorized, they did not allow him to use it, and Celine's team made a statement. They said, today Celine Dion's management team and her record label, Sony Music Entertainment Canada, became aware of the unauthorized usage of the video, recording, musical performance, and likeliness of Celine Dion singing My Heart Will Go On at a Donald Trump and J.D. Vance campaign rally in Montana. In no way is the use authorized, and Celine Dion does not endorse this or any similar use. ... And really, that song, I just think Celine Dion is an icon for releasing this statement. I mean, obviously, it would allude to the fact that she was endorsing him, which we all know Celine Dion is not endorsing Donald Trump, but the fact that he used it without her permission and she goes, and really, that song, like, you're gonna pick fucking My Heart Will Go On for your fucking campaign? You don't have a heart, Donald Trump. What the fuck do you mean? Like, your heart can't go on. You don't have one. You're evil. I just love that Celine's team and her were like, nope, instantly put out a statement. Absolutely not. Their heart will not go on with this campaign. And my mess of the week, something we already talked about, so it's going to be quick, but the fact that they are trying to take Jordan Childs' bronze medal away really just grinds my fucking gears. It just makes me so mad. It's not Jordan's fault that the judges didn't judge her correctly the first time. Why should she get her medal taken away? I don't know. It pissed me off. I'm going to leave it at that. We already talked about it. You heard it if you made it this far. Thank you for making it to the end. And with that, thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode of Too Pop to Handle. If you liked what you heard and you're listening to us as a podcast, make sure you leave us a 5-star rating. Leave me a rating. Let me know what you're thinking. Spotify girls, you can now leave comments on the episode. So before you could only leave a poll and answer the question that I asked, they got rid of the questions and now you can just comment. So you can write whatever you want. You can tell me what you're thinking. It could be, you can tell me what you liked, what you didn't like. Like, there's a whole little comment section. So go leave me a comment. Let's chat. I can reply. I can like your shit. I can, we could gap some more there because obviously I like to gap. So leave me a comment on Spotify. Leave me a 5-star rating. Let me know what you're thinking. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you give us a big thumbs up. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what TV you're watching and what you're excited for coming up because I feel like we're going to have some solid TV this fall and I'm very excited. So make sure you give us a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you leave me a comment. Hit all the buttons except for dislike. You guys know the drill. And like I say every single week, if everybody listening to this episode sent it to one friend, say it with me, I will double in listeners. It is easy math. Hit the share button. They make it so easy. Just hit the share, send it to a friend. It's not that hard. Just share it with a friend, somebody you think will enjoy the podcast. It would make all of us so much happier. And if you are not already following us on social media, we are at 2pop the handle on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, Threads, Pinterest. I actually just started posting on Pinterest. I don't really know what the fuck I'm doing, which as a social media manager, as my real job, I should know what I'm doing on Pinterest, but I'm just having fun trying to be, everywhere it is what it is. And if you'd like to follow myself on social media, I am at Andrew Nucatola on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. You can find me yapping in so many places as if this hour-plus long podcast wasn't enough. And with that, let me catch my breath. And with that, I will catch you guys next week.